guys, so I'm going to be doing my labor and delivery video. This is like the fourth time I'm trying to do this, so hopefully this one will work. So anyways, I'm going to start with, there's Bella. Can't really, whatever, she's back there. So I'm going to start with my due date. I'm kind of talking a little bit low because Landon just fell asleep. So, alright. Oh my god, I'm like half in the screen. So, my due date came. And all day it was fine. And then that night I sneezed and I felt a pop. And I felt leaking. So I called the hospital and they said that it sounded like my water broke to come in. So I did. They said it wasn't my water, which was bull because I went to my doctor's, my 40-week appointment on May 31st, excuse me, and they do a routine ultrasound to check your amniotic fluid, and that was really low. They're like, you have like a centimeter of fluid in there, like that's really, really low, so you're going to the hospital. So I was like, oh, cool. I wasn't expecting it, so I was like, yay, and kind of nervous at the same time because I wasn't expecting it. I honestly thought I was going to have to go to 41 weeks until I got induced. So, what was I saying? So, me and my mom went to my doctor's appointment. We picked up my husband from the house, went to grab something to eat, and then we went to the hospital we got there around, I want to say like 2:30, and they started me, I got my gown on, then they started me on Cervidil around 3:30, and I started feeling, cramping, blah, blah. I'm like, this is nothing. I don't know why people make such a fuss about labor, like, honestly, if I'm contracting and I'm like hardly feeling them and I just feel crampy, like, this is nothing. And my mom and the nurse were like, honey, it's gonna get a lot worse, so just quiet. So I was like, whatever. So it started getting worse and worse and worse, and I was like, oh my god. And then they gave me pain meds through my IV. I don't remember what it was called, but it helped a little bit, only for a little bit. Like, I think the medicine lasted maybe, I want to see 10 minutes or something. It sucked because like I'd feel like good and then I'd feel my pain again. So I was like, whatever, So and they were checking me throughout the night, whatever. Put the well, they didn't do the catheter until I got my epidural. I got my epidural at 3 a.m. So I went 12 hours with no epidural, which is if you guys, some people may be like, oh, that's nothing, like, oh, I did it natural. Well, it was a long time for me because that was very painful. So, yeah, after 12 hours, I finally got my epidural, and I felt amazing after. I got some rest, and then at 8 a.m., the doctor came in, and he's like, all right, we're going to break your water. He did that. There was no water that came out. Only my mucus plug came out. And he checked me, and I think he said I was a 3. So he's like, all right, well, just get some rest, and we'll come back later, and we'll check you. I was like, all right, whatever. So I tried getting some rest, watched some TV, and then they were doing whatever, checking me, catheterizing me, whatever it's called. And then at 4, the doctor came back in and was like, let's check you again, whatever. So at 4, I was a 5 centimeters. And maybe he said like 95% effaced or something like that. Or 90. I don't remember. So yeah, he checked me and he's like, all right, we're going to wait a couple more hours. And if you're not progressing, obviously we're going to have to do a C-section. And I didn't want a C-section at all. I was like, no, I can't. Like, I don't want it. Like, I want to have a natural, you know. But anyways. So after that, like, all I remember next was like 2 or 3 nurses, maybe more, nurses rushing in my room, threw on that oxygen mask and turned me from side to side, and I knew something was wrong because they told me, like, if they opened up the back and had to, like, do anything with that there was something, you know, going on. So when they threw that oxygen mask on me, I was like, oh my god, like, what's going on? And they were turning me from side to side, and I guess Landon's heart had dropped to like 70 or something, which was really low. So, and then it went back up, and then it dropped again. And it was dropping, I guess, when I was contracting or something. I don't know. And then I'm like, just go get the doctor, you know, like, is everything okay? And I'm like trying not to cry, but I'm looking at my husband and my mom, and they're looking at me like, they're like, they feel for me, you know, like, I'm like sorry, you know, like they were worried also. So it made me like, you know, like, I don't know, it was really sad. And then I was crying, and then the doctor came in, and he's like, you know, I think it's best we just do a C-section. The baby's heart's fine now, but, and I'm like, just do it, you know, like, whatever. So I got rushed to the OR, and my mom couldn't come. Aaron was there, and then they were like, he was doing the test of the belly, see if I can feel anything. And I could still feel, because the anesthesiologist came, like, a little bit late, and then he injected whatever into my IV, and then it was taking a little bit for the medicine to kick in, so the doctor's like, we have to put her to sleep, because I gotta get this baby out. So they made my husband get out, and I'm like, and they put something over my face, and the anesthesiologist was like, no, doc, you know, like, just give it a second, it'll kick in a second. So he did, and then the nurse is like, he's got to start cutting, and she had this thing on my face, and I couldn't breathe, and I was like, my arms were tied down, you know, I was like uncomfortable, and my husband was gone. Like, I was like, I get my husband, I want my husband, get my husband, I want my husband. So she went, and finally she got my husband back. He came, and the doctor's like, I gotta go, I gotta cut or whatever. So he started, and honestly, the only thing I felt was, like, you can feel them moving, whatever they're doing. You can feel it all, but it's not pain. I don't know. It's a lot of tugging of, you could feel them moving, whatever they're moving around, you can feel it. And then you can feel them pull out your baby. And when they got his head out, all I heard the doctor say was cord around the neck. So Aaron couldn't cut the cord, obviously. And he wasn't crying, so I was like, oh my god, what's wrong with my baby? Is he okay? Is he okay? No one would answer me, you know, like, I'm just like, oh my god. And I'm like asking my husband, can you go see the baby, you know, make sure he's okay, because he wasn't crying, because he didn't breathe for the first 2 minutes, I guess, of life. So my husband's like, I can't, you know, he's at the nurse's station, there's like a million nurses around him. And then they took him out and took him to the NICU. And then they came back and got my husband and said, you can go see your baby. So Aaron went and took pictures while they were stapling me back up, or whatever they're doing. And I was shaking, like, I was shaking so bad. Like, my whole body, I was just, like, trembling, like, shaking. They were putting, like, the hot towels and stuff on me, or blankets, and I was just shaking, and I'm like, oh my god, like, what the heck? And I just remember being so cold, I was just shaking. And then they took me back to my room. Aaron brought me pictures of the baby, and I saw him, and then he was born at 5:10 p.m., and he was 7 pounds, 10 ounces, 19 inches long, and he was born at 5:10, I didn't get to see him until like 6:45, so that sucked. But then when I did finally see him, I don't want to cry. When I did finally see him, that was the best thing of my life. Like, that was the best moment of my life ever. It honestly, there's no explaining that feeling that you get. I don't know, it's amazing. So anyways, yeah, that was pretty much my labor and delivery. Um, Recovering from a C-section sucked. That was so painful, really painful. But we got to leave June 3rd, and we were not, originally we were supposed to leave June 4th, but we got to leave on June 3rd because me and the baby were doing so good. So yeah, that was pretty much it. We came home and started our life as a family, and it was great. I mean, except for all the, in my birth plan, I did not have I said if it's necessary. Obviously, it was necessary to have a C-section, so that's fine. But with our next baby, I'm going to try for a VBAC, but that's not going to be for a while, because I don't, not for a while. But anyways, that was my labor and delivery. If you guys want to know more about the recovery of a C-section, comment me below or leave me a message, and I'll do a little video about that. But that was pretty much it. Best day of my life was being able to hold my son for the first time. It was amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new, please subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye.